All right, let's talk about something that trips up just about every pilot at some point, VFR weather minimums. They're a classic stumbling block on check rides, but they really don't have to be. In this quick explainer, we're going to make them simple, once and for all.
Oh man, we have all been there, right? You're sitting in the cockpit, the examiner's next to you, the pressure's on, and poof, your brain just goes completely blank. You know the numbers are in there somewhere, but which ones go with which airspace? It's a huge source of anxiety, but we're about to fix that for good.
It just feels like a random soup of numbers and letters, doesn't it? 3152, 5111, clear of clouds. They're all just floating around in your head. And trying to match them up with the right airspace feels like a high-stakes memory game you're destined to lose. That's the problem when you just try to memorize facts without understanding them. It's just chaos.
But what if I told you there's a much, much simpler way? A way that's built on logic, not just pure memorization. We're going to start with just one single foundational rule. This is the rule that covers most of your everyday flying. This right here is the whole secret. Stop trying to cram a dozen disconnected rules into your brain. All you need to do is really, truly understand one plain vanilla rule, and then learn the very logical reasons why we have exceptions to it. It's about understanding the system, not just memorizing the data. So let's meet the hero of our story, the 3152 rule. This is your go-to, your bread and butter rule for the vast majority of controlled airspace you'll find yourself in, especially below 10,000 feet. If you can just lock this one down, you're honestly more than halfway there. So what does 3152 actually mean? It's simple. The 3 stands for 3 statute miles of visibility, easy enough, and the 152 part breaks down your cloud clearance. You need to be 1,000 feet above the clouds, 500 feet below them, and 2,000 feet horizontally away from them. And there's a reason you need more room above than below. You gotta watch out for faster climbing traffic that might pop up through the cloud deck. And here is the absolute best way to make 3152 stick forever. Just picture it. 3 little Cessna 152s flying along together in formation. 3 152s. See? It's a perfect visual that just locks that number right into your memory. So where does this magical rule apply? Well, pretty much everywhere. It's your standard for Class C, Class D, and most of the Class C airspace you'll fly in. It's even the rule for Class G airspace at night. As you can see, this one single rule covers a huge chunk of the airspace you'll ever operate in. Okay, so we've got our baseline rule locked in. Now let's look at our first logical exception. This is what happens when things get faster and higher. And this isn't some random change. There is a really good reason for it. Just think about it for a second. It's kind of like driving, right? When you're cruising down a quiet neighborhood street at 25 miles per hour, you have plenty of time to see and react. But what about on the freeway at 70? You need way more space. Well, the exact same logic applies in the sky. And here's the why. Above 10,000 feet, that 250 knot speed limit that most of us are used to, well, it's gone. You've got airliners absolutely ripping through the sky at high subsonic speeds. So to keep everyone safe and give pilots enough time to see and avoid each other, you just need more visibility and a bigger buffer from the clouds. It makes perfect sense. This creates a really clear logical progression. Below 10,000 feet, where things are a bit slower, our rule is 3:15:2. But above 10,000 feet, where speeds are much higher, the rule gets stricter and becomes 5:1:11. It's a direct cause and effect relationship. And here it is, our second main memory item, 5111. This means you need 5 statute miles of visibility, and for cloud clearance, you need 1,000 feet above, 1,000 feet below, and a full 1 statute mile horizontally. Everything is just bigger, giving you a much larger safety buffer for those higher speeds. And you guessed it, just like we had a great mnemonic for the slower airspace, we've got one for this faster realm. So instead of picturing those 3 little Cessna 152s, now I want you to picture a fast-moving F-11 combat jet screaming by. 5:1:11. It's the perfect way to separate the high-altitude rule from our plain vanilla one. So we've seen when the rules get stricter. But what about when they actually get more relaxed? Well, there are 2 key scenarios for this. And again, they both have a simple, clear logic behind them. We're talking about 2 very different environments here. First, there's Class B airspace. Think of the nation's busiest airports. And then there's the total opposite, low-level Class G airspace during the day, which is totally uncontrolled and mostly used for local flights.
Okay, so let's look at Class B first. The logic here is simple. You've got a lifeguard on duty. Every single plane in that airspace, whether it's VFR or IFR, is talking to air traffic control. ATC is actively keeping everybody separated. Because of that extra layer of professional safety, the cloud clearance requirement gets super relaxed. You still need 3 miles of visibility, but for clouds, you just have to stay clear of cloud.
Now let's flip to the other extreme. Class G during the day. Down low, below 1,200 feet. Just picture the traffic pattern at your local uncontrolled airport. The traffic here is generally slower, and everyone's flying visually, so the rules are the most relaxed they can possibly be. You only need 1 statute mile of visibility, and just like in Class B, you simply have to stay clear of clouds.
Okay, we've covered our baseline rule, and we've covered the big logical exceptions. Now let's boil all of this down to the ultimate takeaway. This is what you actually need to walk away remembering. So here it is, the big official chart. And you know what? Looking at it now, it should make a whole lot more sense. You can see our 315.2 rule in there, you can see our 511.1 rule, and you can see those clear of clouds exceptions for Class B and low-level Class G. It's not so random anymore, is it? It all fits together.
But, and this is the most important part, please do not try to memorize this entire chart row by row. That is the old, painful way of doing things. The whole point of what we just did is to show you that you don't have to. It really just comes down to a few key ideas.
And here they are. This is basically all you need. Number 1, your plain vanilla rule, the 3 Cessna 152s, 3-152. Number 2, your high-altitude, high-speed rule, the F-111, 5-111. And then there's one other special case for Class G airspace during the day above 1,200 feet, 1-512. That's 1 mile visibility and the same 500 below, 1,000 above, 2,000 horizontal as our vanilla rule. Honestly, if you know those first 2 and the logic for clear of clouds, you can solve almost any VFR weather question that comes your way. So the next time you're prepping for a flight, or maybe even that big check ride, ask yourself this. Are you going to see that old, chaotic mess of numbers? Or are you going to see the simple, elegant, and logical pattern we just broke down? Once you understand the why, the baseline, the need for speed, and the lifeguard on duty, the whole system just clicks.